Hello friends, in this video lecture we will discuss valvular heart diseases and autopsy findings in case of valvular heart disease. So there are four heart valves: mitral valve, which is present between left atrium and left ventricle; tricuspid valve, which is present between right atrium and right ventricle; aortic valve, that is present between left ventricle and aorta; and pulmonary valve, which is present between right ventricle and pulmonary trunk. The role of heart valve is to allow unidirectional flow of blood and by closing properly preventing the backward flow. So to do their function, it depends on the mobility, pliability and structural integrity of their delicate flap, also called as leaflets. So out of all these four valves, only mitral valve has two leaflets, other three have three leaflets. All four valves have similar layered architecture histologically. A dense collagenous core, that is called fibrosa layer, a central core of loose connective tissue called spongiosa, and a layer reaching elastin. It is called ventricularis or atrialis, depending on which chamber it is facing. Below which, towards the inflow surface, there is endothelial covering. So as you can see in this picture, this is collagenous fibrosa, spongiosa, loose connective tissue and ventricularis reaching elastin. Plus towards inflow surface there are endothelial cells and in between there are interstitial cells. This is normal heart valve in mauve pentachrome stain. Black color is elastin, yellow color is collagen and blue is proteoglycan. This is normal heart valve. Now the role of interstitial cells is to produce and continuously repair the extracellular matrix, especially collagen, and structural integrity of heart valve depends on collagen. So valvular heart disease and dysfunction generally falls into one of these categories. There can be damage to collagen that weakens the leaflets, or there can be nodular calcification which interferes with the function of heart valve, or there can be fibrotic thickening of the valvular leaflets that also interfere with the function of heart valve. So what are these dysfunctions which may arise in heart valve? First, there can be stenosis, is failure of valve to open completely, which impedes forward flow. In contrast, insufficiency results from failure of valve to close completely and thereby allowing the reverse flow. Regurgitation sometimes is called functional when heart valve is normal but the incompetence of valve arises from abnormality in one of its supporting structures. For example, left atrium can be affected by many disease processes and undergo hypertrophy. So dilation of left ventricle can pull the ventricular papillary muscle down and outward, which also pulls mitral valve also. Suppose for example dilated cardiomyopathy where there is marked dilation of left ventricle. So that may also pull mitral valve and result in incomplete closure and regurgitation. So that is called functional regurgitation where the valve is normal. So clinical consequences of valve dysfunction vary depending on the which valve is involved, degree of impairment, how fast the dysfunction develops, and rate and quality of compensatory mechanism. For example, sudden destruction of aortic valve cusp because of infective endocarditis may result in massive regurgitation that can be rapidly fatal. Generally, valvular stenosis leads to pressure overload, while valvular insufficiency or regurgitation results in volume overload. In addition, blood when passing through this narrow valve forms these high speed jets of blood that injure the endocardium where they impact. So, valvular heart diseases can be congenital or acquired. Acquired stenosis of aortic and mitral valve account for approximately 2/3 of all cases of valve diseases. Now, stenosis is almost always due to chronic abnormality of valve cusp that becomes clinically evident after many years, and relatively few disorders involve or causes valvular stenosis, while valvular insufficiency can result from diseases of valve cusp or damage to the supporting structures like aorta, mitral annulus, tendinous cord, papillary muscles, and ventricular free wall. This valvular insufficiency has many causes and may appear acutely as with rupture of tendinous cord or chronically in disorders associated with leaflet. So the most common abnormalities are aortic stenosis, aortic insufficiency, mitral stenosis, and mitral insufficiency. And the most common causes are in mitral stenosis, rheumatic heart disease, in mitral regurgitation, post-inflammatory scarring, infective endocarditis, or mitral valve prolapse. In aortic stenosis, again rheumatic heart disease, senile cardiac aortic stenosis, calcification of congenitally deformed valve, that is bicuspid valve. In case of aortic regurgitation, infective endocarditis, or sometimes associated with Marfan syndrome. So these are most common diseases with most common causes. So valvular degeneration associated with calcification. Heart valves are subjected to high level of repetitive mechanical stress, particularly at the hinge point of cusp and leaflets. Like there are 40 million or more cardiac contractions per year, plus substantial tissue deformation during each contraction, and even in normal circumstances, transvalvular pressure gradient in closed phase during each contraction reaches up to 120 millimeter of mercury in case of mitral and 80 millimeter of mercury in case of aortic valve. So all these factors affect the valve, and this delicate structure can suffer cumulative damage and dystrophic calcification that lead to clinically important dysfunction. Most common is calcific aortic stenosis. It is the most common of all valvular abnormalities. Acquired aortic stenosis is usually the consequence of age-associated wear and tear of either anatomically normal valve or bicuspid valve. Aortic stenosis of previously normal valve usually comes in 7th or 9th decade. More recent studies suggest that hyperlipidemia, hypertension, inflammation, and other factors involved in atherosclerosis may have a role and perhaps even precede the calcification. So morphologically, there are heaped up calcified masses within the aortic cusp that ultimately protrude through the outflow surface into the sinuses of valsalva, preventing the opening of the cusp, resulting in stenosis. So as you can see in this picture, all these rounded masses are nothing but the calcium deposits in sinuses of valsalva, and it interferes with the opening of the valve, resulting into stenosis. Large nodular calcific deposits to cause measurable obstruction to outflow. This subjects the left ventricular myocardium to progressively increase due to pressure overload. In contrast to rheumatic and congenital aortic stenosis, commissural fusion is not seen in case of calcific degeneration. Here, as you can see, in case of rheumatic, there is commissural fusion. Clinical features: because of stenosis, left ventricular pressure rise up to 200 millimeter of mercury or more. In such instances, producing concentric left ventricular hypertrophy due to pressure overload. Patient may have angina pectoris, and 50% of this patient will die within 5 years. Or they can have congestive heart failure, and 50% of patients with congestive heart failure will die within 2 years if the obstruction is not elevated by replacement with artificial heart valve. Now, calcification of congenitally bicuspid aortic valve. With a prevalence of approximately 1%, bicuspid aortic valve is the most frequent congenital cardiovascular malformation. Although bicuspid valve is usually uncomplicated in early life, but later it may give rise to aortic stenosis, regurgitation, infective endocarditis, and aortic dilation or dissection. So, along with bicuspid aortic valve is generally associated with structural abnormalities of aortic wall also. So, even when the valve is hemodynamically normal, this may potentiate aortic dilation or dissection. Large cusps have midline raphe that result from incomplete commissural separation during the development, and these raphes are major site of calcific deposit. As you can see in this picture, this commissural lack of commissural separation results in this raphe, and it is a common site of this type of calcific deposit. So, one cusp has a partial fusion at its center called raphe. So, bicuspid valve may also become incompetent as a result of aortic dilation, cusp prolapse, or infective endocarditis. Next is mitral annular calcification. Degenerative calcific deposit can develop in peripheral fibrous ring of mitral valve known as annulus. So, grossly this appears as irregular, stony hard, occasionally ulcerated nodule 2 to 5 millimeter in thickness that lies behind the leaflet. So, as you can see, this is peripheral fibrous ring, and these are the calcific deposit. This is cut section of the myocardium showing this calcific deposit. So, the process generally does not affect valvular function in usual cases. However, mitral annular calcification may lead to regurgitation by interfering with physiological contraction of valve ring, or stenosis by impairing opening of the mitral leaflet, and even arrhythmia and sudden death if the calcific deposit reaches up to the atrioventricular conduction system. Because calcific nodules may also provide a site for thrombi which can embolize, the patient with mitral annular calcification have an increased risk of stroke or cerebrovascular accident. Plus, it provides site for infective endocarditis. This condition is common in women over age of 60 and people with mitral valve prolapse. So, next is mitral valve prolapse or myxomatous degeneration of mitral valve. One or both mitral valve leaflets are floppy and prolapse or balloon back into the left atrium during systole. As you can see in this picture, this is left ventricle and this is left atrium. So instead of closing completely during the contraction, it falls and balloons backward into the left atrium. The key histological change in tissue is myxomatous degeneration. The affected leaflets are often enlarged, redundant, thick and rubbery. The associated tendinous cords may be elongated, thin or even ruptured, and the annulus may be dilated. So, these are the prolapse valve. So histologically there is attenuation of collagenous fibrosa layer on which the structural integrity of leaflet depends, accompanied by marked thickening of the spongiosa layer with deposition of mucoid material. So as you can see here, figure D is normal heart valve in Mouet pentachrome stent, black is elastin, yellow is collagen and blue is proteoglycan. While figure E is myxomatous degeneration of mitral valve. Here if you see, the collagen which is yellow in spongiosa layer is loose and there is marked thickening of the spongiosa layer with deposition of proteoglycan, and atrialis layer there is disorganized elastin is present. So pathogenesis is unknown. Sometimes it is associated with Marfan syndrome, that is caused by mutation in fibrillin 1 gene. Clinically, most cases are asymptomatic, but if there is mitral regurgitation, it may present with pansystolic murmur. Minority of the patient have chest pain mimicking angina, dyspnea and fatigue. Complications include infective endocarditis, stroke, arrhythmias and chordal rupture. So what are the autopsy findings which we can see in case of valvular heart diseases? So in antemortem finding, generally acquired valvular lesions, patients are elderly with history of hyperlipidemia, hypertension, angina, congestive heart failure or inflammation. If there is mitral stenosis, there will be sign of mid-diastolic murmur. If there is mitral regurgitation, there will be pansystolic murmur. These are abnormal heart sounds. If calcific deposits are large enough, it can be seen on echocardiography. In post-mortem findings in cardiovascular system depends on the etiology. There can be calcific deposits, there can be seen, or chordal rupture can be seen, there can be evidence of inflammation or myxomatous degeneration in case of mitral valve prolapse. Various types of hypertrophy of cardiac chamber with or without thrombus. See, in case of calcific degeneration, you can see calcific deposits. In case of mitral valve prolapse, you will see the prolapse mitral valve ballooning backward into the atrium. If there are associated wall abnormalities of aorta, you can see dilation and or dissection of aorta. Cardiac chamber can show any of this type of hypertrophy and or dilation of the chamber. Under the microscopy, myocytes are elongated and hypertrophied, and there is increased interstitial and perivascular fibrosis. Cause of death can be myocardial infarction or bilateral heart failure, as valvular lesions can cause pressure and volume both overload, can result in bilateral heart failure, or there can be cerebrovascular accident resulting in death. So this was about valvular heart diseases and autopsy findings which can be seen in case of valvular heart disease.